Sonic has remained for a lot of different styles. We got the 16-bit classic style and the 3D adventure style. However, if there was one style of games I really enjoyed in the Sonic series, it would be the Boost styles. The Boost games are some of my favorite games in the whole series because they're super fun to play and just control very great. However, not all of them are winners, but most of them definitely are. So in this video, I'm going to rank every single Boost Sonic game to exist. There are 5 Boost games that include Sonic Colors, Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Generations, Sonic Forces, and Sonic Frontiers. Now, I know Frontiers doesn't really count for a Boost game, but it has Boost out levels, and it does work in the open world, so I'm gonna count it. And also, Sonic X Shadow Generations is not out yet, so it will not be counted for the purposes of this list. Just wanted to let you know right now. But from the way it looks, it would probably be near the top. Anyway, guys, let's dive into the Boost Sonic games, and let's see which one is my fave and which one is my least fave. Let's get into it. Before we get into the rest of the video, I just wanted to let you know that I'm actually working on a brand new series. So recently I got into a habit of 100%ing Sonic games. I did it with Sonic Frontiers, Sonic Origins, and Sonic Generations. But I wanted to share y'all with you guys. So I'm starting a brand new Platinum Trophy list and a 100% achievements list for both PlayStation and Xbox games, because I have both consoles. So how this works is I'm trying to get every trophy or achievement on every Sonic game that I can, of course. And even though I already did some games, I'm going to try my best to put them in this list. I'm actually working on the Sonic Adventures 100% right now, like the first adventure game. But after I'm done with that, if you guys have any other suggestions for 100%ing Sonic games, you guys leave them down in the comments below, or the eventual community post. But without further ado, enough stalling. Let's get back into the video. Coming in at number 5 is the worst Boost game in the entire series. We have Sonic Colors. Sonic Colors is a game that's hard to place. Because back in the past, I used to love this game. Like, seriously, I used to love this game with my heart. Not to the same levels as Unleashed or even Frontiers back then, but this game was definitely in my top 3. But on my recent playthrough, I came to dislike it way more. Don't get me wrong, it's not the worst Sonic game out there. There are definitely worse games like Sonic 4, and the list goes on. But it's, out of all the Boost title games, it's definitely the worst. Now, what are some positives about the game? Well, the first couple of zones are pretty nice. I like Tropical Resort and Sweet Mountain, and I guess Terminal Velocity is a really fun stage too. But the rest of them are either okay or just plain bad. Starlight Carnival is a fine 3rd level, but it just has some pretty bad level design. Planet Wisp, on the other hand, has some pretty bad platforming. It just makes it obnoxious to play, while the environments look very beautiful. Aquarium Park is the worst level in the whole game, because, for one, it mixes the bad platforming and bad level design that both Starlight Carnival and Planet Wisp have. Asteroid Coaster makes it a little bit better, but not to the same step as the previous 3 I mentioned. Overall, though, Colors is gameplay, though. What's about Colors' gameplay? Well, it doesn't control that fine. It works, I guess. I have nothing really bad to say about the controls. I have to say, though, the story definitely sucks. Like, the story is just not that interesting to me. Like, honestly, I kind of like the concept where it's like Sonic and Tails going to this alien planet or Eggman's amusement park and trying to shut it down. I really like that idea. However, the execution has a lot to be desired. I even think Forces had better ideas. But is there any other positives? The soundtrack is actually pretty nice. the songs and like Reach for the Stars and like the level tracks are all really nice to hear. The visuals look pretty. It is a pretty looking Sonic game after all. And with the release of Colors Ultimate, the customization feature was pretty nice. Oh yeah, Colors Ultimate. So, Colors Ultimate. Yeah, it got worse over me. It's a fine remaster of the game. It's just, it tried way too hard to be pretty. And for my standard controls, I would like to be the Frontiers controls because I'm pretty much skilled with that. But yeah. And also the new Rival Rush mode with Metal Sonic. It kind of sucks. There's really nothing else major to it. Overall though, Colors is a pretty much a mediocre game for me. And I'm sad to see it turn out like this. Because this went from a game I used to love, now from a game that I think it's mediocre. At number 4, we have Sonic Forces. Okay guys, please hear me out on this one. While I don't think Forces is neither a great game, it's barely good either. It's like almost okay. I don't know. I just have some fine enjoyment of this game. For starters, just look how pretty this game is. Like, come on. The visuals in this game are just top notch. Colors was a pretty game, but this is just off the charts. And also, it controls fine enough. I have really nothing else to say about the controls. It's perfectly fine of what it's trying to accomplish. However, what are some problems with this game? Well, just like with Colors, the story is kind of bad. The concept is great, like very great, better than Colors, but the execution makes it so bad. However, though, it does have some redeeming qualities, like the concept, and just makes it look like a great setting for Sonic's world to be in. With that said, though, there's another major issue with the story that has one big impact on it all, and that is the villain. Infinite is the most wasted potential character I've ever seen in the Sonic series, and that's super disappointing to see. Because I love Infinite's design. It looks so badass. But top it off with some cringy lines, and yeah, we got a pretty mediocre story to tell. But I'll give it some other quality stuff. The gameplay's pretty nice, at least for 2/3 of it. Classic Sonic can literally kiss my ass. That gameplay style can go rotten hell where it belongs. But with modern Sonic and the Avatar, yeah, I can honestly have some fun with this. Modern Sonic especially. Some of his boost levels can honestly be pretty fun. And some of the boss fights can be pretty fun too. But that's not even the best part about the game. No, the real best part about the game is Episode Shadow. My god, this DLC is fire. Now, there's only 3 stages, but they're all equally fun to play. And they offer a great challenge of trying the S-Rank. And yes, I do struggle with S-Rank in these stages. And yeah, Shadow controls like Sonic, but even better. I don't even know how that's possible. I mean, Sonic controlled fine in this game, and Shadow controls even better. Well, he does play like Sonic. He has this one really cool move where you could like perform like a homing chain, I think, on like many different enemies. It was shown in stages 1 and 3 on him. But there's one main problem I have with his campaign. And that is the fact that he's only at 3 stages. Like, they could have added way more for how good his gameplay is. But at least you could play him in the modern levels. At least some of them. Overall, though, Episode Shadow is just a fire DLC for the game. And it actually really works out. Overall, though, while I do understand some criticisms like the story, the villain, and classic Sonic, I can't say I'm with everybody that hates this game. I don't know, man. I could actually have some fun with it, and I might boot it up sometime. But we still have 3 more games on the list that are just even better. And they're some of the best Sonic games that ever were made. Coming in at number 3, we have Sonic Generations. I love this game. Sonic Generations is such a fun time to run through. I used to think this game was good, but not as good as everybody thought it was. But once I replayed it again, my god, this is my fourth favorite Sonic game ever created. It's so fun between the two individual gameplay styles, between classic and modern, and between 2D and 3D gameplay. It's just so much fun. Starting off with classic Sonic, he controls wonderful. While he's not my favorite gameplay style, he controls really nice. His levels are sometimes enjoyable. The modern era's classic levels, and yeah, they're not that great. But the other levels, fantastic. Green Hill's a beginning of a fantastic level. Chemical Plant is the best classic Sonic stage in the whole game. Sky Sanctuary is amazing. Speed Highway is pretty good. City Escape has an amazing soundtrack to it, and probably my favorite out of the classic OST. Seaside Hell is kind of mid, not gonna lie to you. Then we get the Crisis City, which is also kind of mid. So is Rooftop Run, and then Planet Wisp is just awful. But yeah, classic Sonic I think controls really nice, and I really love his gameplay. But that's by far not the best style of gameplay in this collection. No, the real best gameplay style is modern Sonic's boost levels. My god, this is the highlight of the game for me. These levels are so much fun to run through, and I could pick out some of my favorites, like City Escape, Rooftop Run, Chemical Plant. Oh my god, almost all these levels are amazing. I think Planet Wisp is not that great because there's way too much 2D and platform in there. But besides that, this gameplay style is dang near perfect. I'm not saying it's better than Unleash's gameplay style, but damn, I could see why everybody loves this game to death. And I do too, for the most part. Look, I'm just gonna say it, the story is not the biggest game strong toot. The story is just mid, honestly. Unlike Colors and Forces, where the concept was really good, yeah, I'm not really a fan of the concept of this game, or the story overall, how it's executed. So, yeah, big dock points for that. Another big issue I have is the final boss. How the hell could you mess this up? Like, you're just boosting. For what? You're just boosting and just keep spamming the button until you reach his core while dodging all sorts of bad attacks. And yeah, that's basically it. There's no interesting stuff to it. It's just so boring. Yeah, I don't really like the Time Eater fight, but the other bosses in the game are epic. At the end of the day, though, I love Sonic Generations, and I don't think that's ever going to change. I'm excited how Sonic X Shadow Generations is going to knock it out of the park. Let's see if they're going to nail Generations once again. At number 2, we have Sonic Unleashed. Honestly, what more needs to be said about this masterpiece? Sonic Unleashed is one of the best Sonic games of all time. At first, at launch, it didn't really get much of a liking, but future down, the line, people started to love this game, and I could definitely see why. The boost gameplay is so much fun. Modern Sonic levels are some of the best modern Sonic levels in history, probably even my favorite. And while the Werehog isn't as good as the boost levels, it's still really fun, and I really enjoyed both gameplay styles. But unlike Generations, Colors, and Forces, the story is so damn good. They were able to knock this out of the park back in 2008. And outside the Rush duology, this is the first official Boost Sonic game. And boy, did they knock it out of the park in their first try. This game has the best CGI opening, some of the best boost levels in the entire series, best story, best soundtrack, man, everything you want in a Sonic game and more. I gotta save my breath for the Werehog stages a bit. While they aren't as good as the day stages, I still find some of them pretty fun. However, some stages like Empire City Night and Shamar Night are pretty tedious and boring as hell. And of course, I gotta mention Eggman Land. This is a perfect final stage, putting all your skill from what you learn throughout your journey of this game. It's honestly magical. It blends both of the boost style and Werehog style gameplay into one fantastic final stage. People seem to dislike this one much, but I don't know how. Maybe it's because it's too long, but I don't have a problem with it. This game's final level is magical. But after all of that, it all comes down to one big epic climax where Supersonic and Chip and the Guy Colossus take down Perfect Dark Gaia. And it's just a magical boss fight. Some of the best boss fight I've seen in history of Sonic. Just magical. I don't know what else to say about this game. It's just a peak Sonic game with some of the peakest gameplay you've ever seen. I guess you could say this game has endless possibilities. Taking first place on the list is Sonic Frontiers. Man, I just love this game. Frontiers does the boost formula right and sets a good path for the future. Now, I know this game has issues. I get it. The final boss when the game released wasn't great. The game did feel rushed, cause it was. And yes, some of the platforming challenges are way too easy. The playable characters are not as fun as they remember, and some of the cyberspace levels do indeed suck. Those issues, outside of that, this game is perfect. For one, Sonic Control is actually great for once. Not saying he has throughout the entire boost formula, but I don't know, games like Forces and Colors don't really do it right in my opinion. But Frontiers here, he feels so smooth to play, and definitely when it comes to DLC updates after. I don't want to talk about too much about this game because I want to save it for a full video, but let me capitalize on some thoughts. Firstly, the open world is fantastic to run through. It feels smooth for Sonic's new controls, and yeah, I really like it. The story is also pretty nice too. I really like Sonic has to go to these 5 different islands in order to get the Chaos Emerald and rescue his friends. However, there's one part about this game that people is iffy on, and that is the cyberspace levels. Me personally, the cyberspace levels are fine. They're not offensive, but they're not that great at the same time. I don't know, man. I just don't find the cyberspace levels that great or that bad. They're in the middle of the road for me. But nothing, and I mean nothing, will compare for you when you face the Supersonic Titan fights. These fights are one of the best supersonic bosses I've ever seen in history. These bosses are so fun. Like, beating the crap out of these enemies with all the skills that you earn throughout your entire journey. And it's so fun to beat the crap out of these guardians for each island. Sure, the final boss was disappointing in the original update, but in the third update, it was fixed to be even better. Overall, though, Sonic Frontiers is an amazing example of a Sonic game done right. This game has some of the highest highs I've ever seen in the Sonic series to date, and that's why I love it so much. I don't care what anybody says. If you don't like this game, then that's your take. But for me personally, I am one of the people that generally not likes the game, but loves the game. I know it may seem a little weird placing this over Unleashing Generations, something that gets the boost formula done right too. But as for me, even though Frontiers has its flaws, I consider it one of the greatest Sonic games and a good step in the right direction for the future of the franchise. And that is my list, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, because I see many people out there making videos of ranking all the Boost Sonic games, and I thought I would give my thoughts about each and every one of them, since they're some of the only Sonic games I ever get to play. But that only leaves one question. What does this mean for Sonic X Shadow Generations moving forward? Well, I say this game is going to be peak. It's just looking at it, The shadow portion looks fantastic, and considering how great a game of Generations is, I have no worries that this game is going to be epic. Just like how the trailer said. This game is looking brighter than ever, and I think all the steps in the right direction that Frontiers took really is leading up to something I never thought anybody will say, even critics, that calls a Sonic game a masterpiece.